Okay. Oh, buddy. So, Jesus Christ. Emmanuel Macron and Brigitte have decided to sue Candace Owens over the investigative series that Candace Owens dove into, where she said that Brigitte Macron was born a man. No, this is not Jerry Springer. This is like for real. And apparently, this lawsuit is such big news that even on CNN, they covered it. Who's really winning here? Is this a win for President Macron and Brigitte? Or is this a win for Candace Owens? Now, some of you may not like her. You may not like what she had to say. You may feel as though this story wasn't even worth the time. Don't know. But I would argue that by giving more attention to it, such as corporate media decided to do, I would argue that this is actually helping Candace Owens, not Emmanuel Macron. And I have the numbers to prove it. Let's go ahead and get into this video here, ladies and gentlemen. Wild seeing this on CNN News.
French President Emmanuel Macron and his wife Brigitte are suing right-wing podcaster and conspiracy theorist Candace Owens. The defamation lawsuit filed today in Delaware claims that Owens has engaged in a, quote, relentless and unjustified smear campaign against the couple. The complaint goes on to allege that Owens spread outrageous conspiracy theories. That France's first lady could be a man, that the Macrons are related in committing incest, and that the Macrons, the couple, is being controlled by the CIA. Obviously, those are deranged claims. In response to the filing, Owens posted a screenshot of a news story about the lawsuit on her Instagram page and wrote, "I will be coming for this wig today. Stay tuned." Owens has, of course, a history of all sorts of deranged conspiracy theories and vile anti-Semitic rhetoric. She was temporarily suspended from YouTube for anti-LGBT comments. Joining us now to discuss is Tom Clare, the lawyer for the Macrons, Emmanuel and Brigitte. And we should note that if people recognize you, they might remember you from the Dominion case suing Fox News for defamation, which resulted in
Pause here. I don't remember her being suspended from YouTube because of LGBTQ. I thought she was suspended from YouTube because of the interview that she had with Kanye West and the criticism that he had about Israel. I thought that's where the suspension came from, or she was demonetized as well. But then she regained her monetization back. So I don't remember it happening over that issue. But I don't know if Jake is correct about that.
$787.5 million settlement from Fox, but who's counting? So the lawsuit claims that this has been a year-long campaign by Candace Owens. Why are the Macrons suing now? Like, what changed? Why sue now?
Well, this was really a last resort. We have attempted to engage with her for the last year, putting evidence in front of her, request after request after request, that she just simply do the right thing. This is not a legal thing. Do the right thing, tell the truth, stop spreading these lies. And each time we've done that, she mocked the Macrons. She mocked our efforts to set the record straight. She refused to retract what she had said. She started a merch campaign. She's selling T-shirts mocking and celebrating her defamation of them. And enough is enough. It was time to hold her accountable for this campaign.
So you're.
Let's pause here for a second. So there's always like this possibility that doing what we do, even journalists, there's always a possibility that you could face a lawsuit, right? There have been newspapers that have been sued, commentators that have been sued, but typically for those of us on YouTube, this is typically not how this will go. But there is always that chance. There's always that chance that someone that you're speaking about or whatever may decide, I am going to sue you because I don't like what you're saying about me, or what you're saying about me is incorrect, or it's false, or whatever. But what I would add about this particular situation is that stories come and stories go. I think the Macrons actually are drawing more attention to the story by filing the lawsuit. Whereas as time would go by, people would move on from that story and move on to something else. You guys know how the news cycle works. Like it's something else here. I think Candace primarily has been focusing more on Epstein now, right? So people are turning their faces over to the Epstein thing. And then here comes this lawsuit from the Macron. So I feel like that lawsuit actually draws their attention right back to the Macrons again about that investigative series. So the way that I see it is that they probably would have been better off if they would have just let this story just ride into the sunset. But now, because they move forward with the lawsuit, now it gives Candace Owens more attention, and it also gives that investigative series about them even more attention. There is a such thing as bad press is good press. I don't know if everybody knows that. Eminem proved this. When Eminem was smeared, when Congress went after Eminem, they were calling him all kind of names. Eminem CDs just actually sold more. So I don't know. Let's continue on, and then you're going to hear Candace's response.
Lawsuit alleges, quote, every time the Macrons leave their home, they do so knowing that countless people have heard and many believe these vile fabrications. It is invasive, dehumanizing, and deeply unjust. Some people out there might think, really, the first couple of France can't leave their home in France without worrying that people believe the deranged nonsense from this American podcaster?
Yeah, what people don't really understand, and a lot of people can go on TV and talk about the president, talk about the first lady, pundits can get on and talk about them, but what people forget is these are human beings. These are a married couple. They have a social life, they have a private life together, they have the same feelings and the same hurt from these sorts of defamatory statements as anybody would. And it does have a material impact on them. It is, it's incredibly upsetting to have this said year after year. And this sort of falsehood is a cancer, and it metastasizes into obviously the media, but it also metastasizes into other circles that they're running in. They get asked about it, of course, even in the circles that they run in. They get asked about these campaigns, and they shouldn't have to go through that.
So let me pause here for a second. He mentioned defamation. I'm not sure how this applies in relation to YouTube, because I'm just thinking about, imagine if I filed a lawsuit against people who made YouTube videos about me, or every time someone said something about me that was false, which does happen. Imagine if I filed a lawsuit against those people. So I am wondering, like, when it comes to YouTube, when are people suing YouTubers for this type of, I don't know about the defamation with YouTube. And that's where, because Candace Owens, it's not like she wrote an article for, let's say, Fox News or anything like that. She's a YouTube host. And I'm just not sure where defamation fits in the category of YouTube, because she's not corporate media. So I don't know, guys. And that's something I'd have to look into. But I thought it was really interesting. Like, to me, I don't really care what if Macron's wife was born a boy, a girl. I really don't give a shit. I don't care who Macron chooses to marry, who he's cuddled up with. I care more about, and this is the part that I think a lot of people are missing. Emmanuel Macron just came forward and he said that he is going to declare a Palestinian state. Okay. So Emmanuel Macron is still sending weapons to Israel. So for me, like, when I first heard the story, I was like, oh, that's interesting, but I don't really care. I don't care who he married. I don't care if the person he married was born a man, a woman, I don't care. I give a shit. I'm more focused on the fact that this motherfucker right now is out there posing to people saying that, yes, I'm going to declare a Palestinian state at the summit, and he's still giving weapons to Israel. So I think what we could point to from all of this is that Emmanuel Macron is a liar. Emmanuel Macron is corrupt. Who he chose to marry, I don't give a shit. I don't care. So I think that, because some people, they've heard that story and they're kind of like, well, they may feel offended. They may feel as though, so is this against people who are LGBTQ or whatever? And, like, for me, like I said, I love everybody. I don't care what race you are. I don't care about your ethnicity. I don't care about your sexual orientation. I really don't give a shit. But I think what I wish the conversation was on CNN. What I wish really would be focusing on is how Emmanuel Macron is gaslighting the pro-Palestinian movement by giving people this impression that he's going to declare a Palestinian state, when this is exactly besides the point, that the two-state solution is a trap. They've been talking about two-state solution for years, and that he is actively giving Israel weapons so that they continue killing people in Gaza. Let's go on a little bit more here, then we'll get to Candace's response.
Pretty horrible. She also engages in Holocaust denial and all sorts of anti-Semitism. She just posted a video reacting to the lawsuit. She calls it a, quote, obvious and desperate public relations strategy. What's your response?
Well, first of all, I'd like to thank her for that reaction to the lawsuit. She's only helping us with our claim for punitive damages by expressing no remorse and obviously doubling down on these falsehoods. But I don't think she's going to feel the same way about this being a public relations stunt after her deposition and after she has to sit for trial.
So you're alleging that Candace Owens made these allegations despite knowing that they were false. I don't know that she knows they're false. I mean, she says a lot of crazy, just completely insane, hateful stuff about Jews, about the Holocaust, about I don't know what she knows to be true or not. She says a lot of lies. How do you know that she's lying as opposed to a deeply disturbed individual?
Well,
she could be both.
Jake Tapper says a lot of lies. Am I false? Am I wrong here? How many lies has Jake Tapper told on this show? Right? I know he's not calling anybody a liar. That's the funny part to me.
Both, of course.
It's one of the reasons why our complaint is 219 pages long. We wanted to lay out exactly that. We wanted to explain to the court, and we wanted to explain to the people that will see our lawsuit how we can prove that she knows it's false. We allege that there's evidence that she knew it was false when she started this campaign over a year ago. She started relying on things she knew was discredited. But then over the past year, when we have put this information directly in front of her, even if you want to give her a pass for the early crazy stuff that she said, after we put facts and information in front of her, black and white, multiple times.
What? Like her, the first lady's birth certificate? Like what kind of facts?
Yeah, we have laid out extensive evidence in our complaint demonstrating that she was born a woman. She's always been a woman, and the allegations of CIA control conspiracy and the incest and all the other things are demonstrably false. Putting aside the fact that they are all inherently implausible, what you said at the outset is obviously really important. In our system, if you're making an inherently implausible allegation, the standard is higher. You have to come forward with better evidence if you're going to say it. She has none of it. All she's done is mocked them and ridiculed them and repeated it.
There are a bunch of...
Yeah, so... Again, as I said before, I just feel like they are actually helping Candace by focusing on. That's why I said I was surprised it was on CNN. I was surprised CNN covered this story, but that's not going to hurt Candace Owens. If anything, that's going to get more eyes on her, not take eyes away from her. So she did respond. And I want you to hear what she said here.
You are officially a very goofy man, Brigitte. But I got to give it to you. You've definitely got balls. Fire everybody around you. And I mean literally everyone around you who told you that this was a good idea, that this was a very good idea for you to be the first sitting first lady of a country to file a lawsuit against a journalist of another country. You are literally making history in all the wrong ways. And I want to be very clear here right at the top that this is obvious, very clear that it is an obvious and desperate public relations strategy. That's what this is. Where do we even begin? Okay, so let's rewind this. In case you're new here, a few weeks ago, Brigitte finally lost her defamation claim against two journalists, which was taking place for years, by the way, over in France. It was the most viral story worldwide. Everyone's going, okay, obviously something is here. She's been clinging to this defamation claim, saying, oh, well, I'm suing them for defamation, and this is not true. And Brigitte's world, therefore, came crashing down because that was her only effective PR strategy. That was the only thing that they used to dissuade the rumors that she was born a man. It was an absolute farce of a lawsuit, which relied upon the public not knowing the details of the lawsuit at all. In short, the lawsuit was not about whether or not she was born a man, Okay. That's not the claims of defamation that she was bringing against them, but rather it was very particular. And it was about whether or not Natasha Ray and Amandine Roy misspoke when Natasha said that a document that they had received throughout their investigation appeared to her to be fraudulent. I mean, they were getting really petty. She basically was like, if you make a mistake, I'm going to sue you for defamation. And of course, when you're working with people who won't answer basic questions, you are bound to make little mistakes. But like I said, Brigitte's entire PR strategy hinged upon public ignorance. And then the public ignorance went away when I did the Becoming Brigitte series, because people realized you only have to get one episode into that thing, okay? You realize these are not outlandish allegations. These are not allegations coming from the quote unquote far right or the quote unquote far left. These are not allegations that are coming from deep on a Reddit feed, okay? This is the reality. It is a couple in reality that has been involved in way too many pedophilic scandals, okay? Scandals that are related in some way or another to pedophiles. People that they've worked with, people that they were friends with, artists that they've hired. Things just didn't look right.
Well, I will say this, Emmanuel Macron came from the finance industry. Emmanuel Macron, that's where he came from, folks. And Obama loved him some Emmanuel Macron. So he is definitely a part of that neoliberal, social circle there, but he came from that area. I've talked about him a couple times on the show, especially when he wanted to increase the retirement age and people were protesting against him in France. But you guys gotta know who you're dealing with. Like, Emmanuel Macron is not someone who just came off the street. Like, Emmanuel Macron was a financier. That's the industry that he came from before he became the president here of France.
Then, of course, I invited you guys to recognize that the press in France lied about their origin story. They lied about everything. They tried to present them as some modern couple, telling us that she was so hot, she was Claudia Schiffer, and even though he was 14, she was just irresistible. And then you see this picture, and you're going, what? That's a picture? The hot teacher that the press was trying to sell so people wouldn't question this odd relationship. A person that's 40 being attracted, or alleged to be 40, I actually think Brigitte's older than that, is attracted to a 14-year-old boy. That's disgusting. It's perverted. No matter what, this is an incredibly perverted story, which centers around individuals who happen to surround themselves with other perverts. That's the reality. You cannot look away from that. And then,
so it sounds like, so this is one of the things, the age limit here, right? The age limit and who they were surrounded by. Mike says Brigitte was 39, Emmanuel was 14. That is a significant age gap there. I mean, I noticed that, like, as a couple, I have noticed that, significant age gap there.
of course, right about the time that President Donald Trump personally called me and told me that Emmanuel Macron asked him to order me to just stop talking about his wife's penis, then the world knew something was going on here, because that's not normal. That is completely not normal for a sitting president to get on a plane, to come over and visit another sitting president, discuss Ukraine and Russia negotiations for world peace, and then to take him to the side and say, hey, so do you know Candace Owens, this podcaster? Yeah, that was the moment where the world went, it's over, pack it up, go home. There's clearly something here.
Yeah, man. It's really interesting. I know I heard this circa. Brigitte is a child sex predator, is why Sabby. Yeah, that's what I've heard. Allegedly, that's what I've been hearing about. The thing is this, it would be very weird for Emmanuel Macron to just say that to President Trump. If that happened again, to say that to him, like, can you tell this person to stop, talking about like me and my wife and stuff like that? That is really weird. But at the same time, the lawsuit, and I'm trying to tell you guys, them filing that lawsuit, it makes them look more guilty. Them following that lawsuit, it makes the story come back all over again. And it makes it seem as though, okay, they have something that they want to hide. Because see, and I don't know what all the conditions are, but some of the things that they could do is they could say you have to take this content down. Whatever you were selling merch wise, you have to remove all of those things. You cannot promote those items. You can't sell anything. You are not allowed to mention my name. Like, this is how far it can go with defamation. They could say you could not allowed to mention Macron's name or Bridget Macron's name in the future on camera or whatever. They can take it kind of far. And so that's why I say the lawsuit makes them look more guilty. It's very strange. And I saw the age difference between them. And I remember saying to myself, like, that's odd, interesting. You know, whatever floats your boat. I was like, some guys like older women, some women like older men, whatever floats your boat, that is legal. But what I have been hearing is that apparently what Candace was saying in her series is that they had surrounded themselves around what seems like to be a pedophilia ring, allegedly. Let's go on a little bit more here. And I think we have that defamation information for you. I want to show you.
So Brigitte is now pivoting strategies. That's what's happening here. I told you already that they went to market in America to hire a crisis PR team on American soil. Again, a sitting president of a foreign country trying to hire a crisis PR team in America, that's not normal. And it is more than likely, and I'm surmising here, that crisis PR team was the one that gave them this advice. After they lost against Amandine Roy, Natasha Ray, they probably said, file another lawsuit. We know you can't win that lawsuit, but it doesn't matter. We just need you to file the lawsuit for the sake of press, so that you can again say to people, oh, well, it's not true because look, I'm suing Candace Owens. If you need any more evidence that Brigitte Macron is definitely a man, it is just what is happening right now. The idea that you would file this lawsuit is all of the proof that you need. Okay. I have been in communication with their lawyers, or via our lawyers, like their lawyers and my lawyers have been speaking, phone calls, emails since January. She's now named her law firm. I protected that, but now we can tell you it's Claire Locke, okay? Claire Locke is representing Brigitte and Emmanuel Macron, has been in communication with us for months, and yet they did not send us a copy of the lawsuit. They did not give my lawyer a heads up that they were filing a lawsuit, but they did instead opt to give this lawsuit ahead of time to the Financial Times, the New York Times, CBS News. What does that tell you? It's a PR strategy. They don't care if they win. This is about running it through the press. And how much PR are we talking here? Claire Locke, Tom Locke, or Tom Claire, whatever his name is, they actually uploaded the lawsuit to their website, and then they gave CBS News a link to the uploaded lawsuit before I had been served, before my lawyer was even informed about it. I found out with all of you. I found out with the world. I found out from the Financial Times that I was being sued by the first couple of France.
So this is the interesting part. And again, if he was underage at that time, obviously that's against the law. I don't even think with France, 14 would be considered an age for consent. So that would be obviously big problematic there. I think that the Macrons, let me go ahead and dive in here to show you. Can we, I'll pull up the link after this, Eric. I think the Macrons are only helping Candace Owens by filing this lawsuit, because check this out. What you will see, if we look at Social Blade, since that lawsuit was announced, watch this. Because you know I'm a nerd with this stuff, right? You guys know I'm nerdy. I'm nerdy about this analytics, right? Check this out. Let's go all the way down here. This is by date. All right, July 24th, plus 10,000 subscribers. July 25th, plus 10,000 subscribers. July 26th, which was Saturday, plus 10,000 subscribers. Now, she's been growing before that, obviously, but I'm looking at 3 consecutive days in a row where she's got plus 10,000 subscribers. So the point that I'm trying to make is this. The lawsuit is actually helping her. The lawsuit is helping her grow. And this is what I mean when I say sometimes bad press is good press, in the sense that it's good for the person that the press is against. And we've seen it happen to musicians as well. So I don't know, but I don't think this is going to hurt her. Jake Tapper covering that on CNN doesn't hurt Candace Owens' show. She's still growing. She's still gaining subscribers. I don't see people saying, oh, we got to unsubscribe from her because this story came out on CNN and she's being sued. No, it's just going to draw more people to her channel. It's going to draw more people to focus on her now, even people that didn't know. Like, let's say people that don't watch YouTube. Now they might be like curious. Oh, what's this? I didn't know about this. Let me go investigate this and look into this Candace Owens thing. See what I'm saying? So that's only going to help her. Now, Eric found the law here. Let's go ahead and bring this up here. Libel, slander, and defamation law, the basics. Defamation is a civil action that covers false statements that cause reputational harm. Libel and slander are two types of defamation. Libel includes written or pictorial defamatory statements, while slander includes verbal defamatory statements. Okay, so false statements that cause reputational harm. So I would say in that case, since they filed the lawsuit, it would be on the Macrons to prove that what Candace is saying is false. That's what I would assume. Going on here, defamation lawsuits, they vary, but some accepted standards exist no matter where you are or who you are suing. Generally, to win a defamation lawsuit, you must prove that someone made a statement, the statement was published, the statement caused your injury, the statement was false, and the statement did not fall into a privileged category. So they will have to prove that what she is saying is false. What's this fire? So they would have to prove that she was a woman. I think they would have to prove that she was born a woman. They would have to prove that she's not a part of the CIA. They would have to prove that she was not involved in an underage, like, sex ring. They would have to prove those things. They have to prove that what she's saying is false. So I don't know. That's why I wanted to look at this really quickly. And then also that statement did not fall into a privileged category. So that's another part as well. So I don't know, man. I don't know. If it goes to trial again, like, I feel like this is only going to help Candace. That's not going to hurt her. Because I don't think that Macron understands. He's in France. I don't think he understands how negative press can work in the opposite way in the United States. Whew. New York Varsity said in a civil trial, the burden of proof shifts and no one wants to see anything in discovery. Interesting. This is just all just wild to me, you guys. Like, the lawsuit to me is wild. That I can't believe that they filed the lawsuit. That's the part to me is got, I don't know. It makes you look weird. The lawsuit is kind of weird. I don't hear about a lot of people suing like YouTubers like this. The artist said she spends too much time on one topic. I do sometimes. The Oracle said, I don't understand Candace's fixation on Macron and his wife. Yeah, like, again, I don't care if Brigitte was born male, female. I really don't care about that. Now, if there was something happening where Candace is basically saying that allegedly that he was underage, yeah, that's a problem. That's a problem. But I think that, I don't know, dude. I think the Macrons, like, filing this lawsuit is only going to make things worse for them. Hey guys, this was a Sabby clip. If you like what you saw, hit that like button and subscribe.